I did the sound as soon as I started talking. But also, what I came here to say was we need a good intro, like not something lame like "Welcome to Bench Jeweler Memes Podcast," because we need like an intro. I don't know what. People help us out. Email us ideas for a good opener.
Oh, so that was our intro?
Oh yeah. We're recording. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. We are recording.
and we do not have a guest today.
We do not have a guest. We can briefly talk about, we definitely oversold the idea that we would have a guest on episode 4.
We sure did.
And what happened, Brad?
Well, apparently someone got sick. Not one of us, but the guest. And he was on his way to the store, and he started crying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking there was crying involved, knowing him.
Do you think he was crying because his tummy hurt or because he was going to miss this opportunity?
Both.
It probably started like oh, my tummy hurts. And he started crying, and then it was like, but what's even worse? I'm going to miss this podcast episode.
Yep.
We're going to try to reschedule. So we had to delay recording. We had to come up. We were really going to let this guest carry the episode, so we did not come prepared.
No.
So we spent the last couple days. We've been super busy at the shop. Brad, I don't even know how to explain what is going on right now.
Oh, it's insane. Like, just repair after repairs. Every time we catch a break and can take a breath, then somebody brings in 2 bags of things and says, hey, I need all these fixed.
Yeah, it's weird how it just comes in waves, and it'll be 3, 4, 5, 6 days just busy, bunch of repairs, and we're like, well, it's probably going to let up, and it just doesn't. And about the time it lets up and you get caught up, it's like another wave. I'm not complaining, business is good, but it's hard to constantly be doing repairs and try to run a social media empire.
Right. And so, like, we did our pre-show meeting this morning.
Yeah, we did.
And Dusty was like, all right, Brad, you got the itinerary? I sure don't. Because like you said, our guest was going to just carry us. And so you had a great idea what we could do instead, and you let the people decide.
I did. So first of all, we're going to need some more participation. I'm really disappointed in you guys.
We're not mad. We're just disappointed.
We're not mad. But this is not for us. I mean, it kind of is for us because we just plug in microphones and start talking. And but it's really, truly to like get the jewelry industry involved. Not just bench jewelers, the jewelry industry. So the more emails, the more interaction, the more topics that come up. Also, going to need you to stay up to date, because if episode 7 is about lab-grown versus natural, and then a week later you're like, have you guys talked about natural versus lab-grown diamonds? I'm going to climb through Instagram and punch you.
You won't. You will not do that.
I won't. So here was my idea. I posed the question on Instagram, and of course now it's on Facebook as well, on our story that we will be recording this morning. And we just want to hear your questions, and we're going to answer them. It could literally have been anything. It could have been, do you like coffee? And we would have answered it. But we did not get those type of questions. But we did get a few. So
we do like coffee.
You ready? We do like coffee. I need coffee right now as soon as we're done. We made sure that the store phone is turned off. I'm pretty sure UPS is not coming. Our part-time employee apparently is sick. Get into that another... Maybe if we run out of time, we'll talk about that.
Oh, we're talking about it.
But do we just want to dive right into some of the questions, Brad?
Let's do it.
All right. So first person asked the question, and we could probably, this will be a good topic. How do you say no to risky repairs without upsetting the customer?
Ooh. Huh. All right. So what would constitute a risky repair?
That's why I say this could probably get a little deeper than we thought, just on, like, we can go surface level or we could go like a deep dive into a risky repair and not upsetting customers. I do think because of our experience and the different environments we've worked in, that I think we've come up with a lot of ideas. It's one of those things where I don't like, do I want to talk about this for the next 15 minutes or do we just want to quickly brush over it? But to me, a risky repair would be, I mean, it could be as extreme as an invisible set ring where there's invisible set stones. It could be a hollow rope chain, which we'll save that because that comes into play in another question.
Okay.
It could just be, you know, hey, we're sizing this ring down 3 sizes and there's going to be, I mean, I don't feel, sometimes depending on how they're set and how the ring's made, you can just tighten them up. But sometimes you might be opening a can of worms. I don't know if we need to get into specifics of what would be risky, but I do think we know what a risky repair is when we see one.
Yes, and I think a good example we had last week, a lady came in with a silver ring. I'm trying to remember exactly what it looked like, but it had CZs on the side, like baguette CZs, and then some type of synthetic stone up top. And it had to be sized, I believe, way down, maybe 3 sizes, or up. I think it was down. But anyway, definitely the baguettes were in danger. And do you remember how you handled that, or you kind of in the wilderness on this? And like, what are you talking about, dude?
I vaguely remember because we do see so many people come in.
So we basically did the repair. Everything turned out fine.
So there's different levels to it because in some ways it's like you can kind of, as an experienced bench jeweler, you can kind of see the scenarios of what might happen. Now, we have the benefit, again, another episode topic that we actually do plan on going into the relationship between sales staff and the bench jeweler. We have the benefit to where we are personally taking in the repair. So we get to get ahead of it and we can up front talk to the customer and be like, hey, so here's all the potential bad things.
Correct.
And so we can kind of say firsthand, hey, you know, you've got these baguettes going all up the side. I think they might have been channel set.
Yes.
It was a cheap ring.
Yes.
And it's this fine balance of it might not even be worth it because if it starts to, if we're sizing it down 3 sizes and you've got channel set CZ baguettes on a silver ring, it's like, is it really worth it? And then if they're like, well, it really is, and they kind of push it a little bit, well, we've all been there. And then we can personally explain, hey, well, once we get into this, if something starts going wrong, then, you know, you have to acknowledge that we're not responsible.
Yes.
So, but the question really here was, how do we just say no? So I think maybe that's what we should focus on. Cause we've touched on it briefly that I think jewelry stores, bench jewelers, sales staff all have to try to learn as quickly as they can what their strengths and weaknesses are.
Yes.
And just, I think my greatest strength and the biggest lesson I've ever learned in the jewelry industry is when to say no.
Yes. And it takes a while because you have to learn what you don't do well. But then it also takes the guts to actually say no, because it's not easy to. You're not rejecting someone, but you're kind of saying no. I can't help you with this.
And in an industry where I feel like the jewelry industry is one of the last industries where like we really still focus on customer service, because it's like fast food and other places. It just feels like customer service isn't what it used to be.
And so I have not experienced that.
Oh yeah.
Everywhere I go,
everyone's lovely.
Such happy people.
And so we have this desire in us to, jewelry is attached to memories and people and emotions, and we want to make them happy, and we can see that it's important to them. But that doesn't, to me, I see the importance of it, but then I have to remind them and myself, but what if something goes wrong?
Correct.
So you're looking at an item maybe it's a very old item, maybe it's not a very, maybe it's a newer item, but it's, cheaply made or whatever, and they want to wear it. But then if we completely ruin it where it's unwearable and it's currently unwearable, it's like, what do you want? The piece in its current condition not wearable, or it to be potentially ruined forever and also not wearable?
Correct.
So there's a lot of things just racing through our minds when we're faced with this, how to say no to a customer. But I do think there's a way to say no without just being like, nobody, you should never just be like, if somebody comes in and you're a store that doesn't work on invisible set rings, you just don't, no, we don't work on this. To me,
Right.
that's not the way to say no to a customer.
Correct. You have to, give them a reason. There is a good reason that you do not feel comfortable repairing this, whatever, and explain to them.
You can actually win a customer by
Yes.
properly. You
Yes.
can actually win customers by saying no.
Absolutely.
Now that doesn't make it easy because sometimes people don't take no for an answer, but a lot of times they actually do.
It's funny how many times someone will bring in 4 pieces and they're all something we have to say no to, and it's like, nope, sorry. It's a little uncomfortable, and you kind of feel stupid in the moment because you're like, this person came to me, we have good reviews, they think we can help them, and we're basically saying no for whatever reason. But they always, not always, usually leave with the understanding, okay, I know why they can't fix this. They've either given me a place I can go to for this, or why it's not worth it, or why I shouldn't do it, and I'll be back.
We probably, again, sometimes it doesn't warrant an explanation. You can tell by the client's engagement and inquisitiveness. I don't even, is that even, how curious they are?
We're gonna sit here until you get it right.
And so you kind of have to gauge that, because sometimes it's just like, oh, I'm so, if it's like, I think we mentioned like a stretchy beaded bracelet. Yeah, I have the ability to fix those, but we just chose not to because we have lots of other things going on. So in those moments, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, we don't really fix this, And hopefully that leaves it at that. It doesn't need a lot of explaining. But then if it's something that is like,
ever leave it at that.
I know, bad example, but
I understand. Yes.
Or if they come in with a clock, like, especially if it's an anti-clock, I do not know how to fix that. Neither does Brad. So it's very easy to say, I'm so sorry, we don't do that. And then good luck finding somebody who can. And there's other times where it's an heirloom piece of jewelry and we have to, and it's just completely worn out. It's just, or sometimes old heirloom jewelry was cheaply made back then, so it's still not ideal.
Yeah, people love to hear that. It's like, just because something was made 100 years ago does not mean it was well made 100 years ago.
Yeah. So how would you summarize this seemingly simple question of how do you say no, especially when it comes to repairs to clients?
Yeah. One, know what you can do, what you can't do, what you want to do. Have that understanding, and the things you don't want to do. As you tell people no, you'll get better at it, and you'll get better at explaining it. So you definitely want to explain as much as necessary. Don't have to overdo it. And just stand your ground. Don't be talked into doing something that you don't want to do, because that really never ends up well.
As bench drillers, especially in the context of repairs, we have to be the expert. And part of being an expert is just explaining to people why something can't be done. We'd make a joke around here when people start, if they keep pushing back on the, we're kind of given you don't want to do this, I don't want to do this is not a good idea. We can eventually use the example of, in theory, with the right amount of time and money, anything is possible. You are correct. And sometimes you might have to say, hey, what you're really looking at is like, do you really want to, you're asking a seemingly small task, but if we do this, do you really want to put $2,000 into something that is, extremely old, extremely worn out. Maybe we have to remake it. Sometimes you have to put it in context, and then they'll be like, okay, I get it. It's not that you're just saying, no, it's not possible. You're saying, like, this is not something I do, or gracefully saying this is not worth doing. And you're kind of on their side at that point. Like, hey, if it was me, why would I want to put $400 into repairing a worn out $50 ring? It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
I'm using a weird example, so whatever.
No,
I just made up.
It makes sense. All right, next question.
All right, so let's see. Now, this one was just, I think me and you might be able to give one each. Somebody asked, best bench jeweler tricks. Not basic ones, but completely unhinged tricks.
Unhinged.
And I guess it depends, because some of these I wonder if there's a lot of tips and tricks that we do that we don't think are unhinged because they're normal for us, but then like old school jewelers would be like, no,
Right.
absolutely not.
And I would love, because I had made a note of this when we were kind of brainstorming ideas, is just, what do jewelers have a technique or a tip that they are just, that's the hill I'm dying on. I know this is the best way to do it. I don't care what anybody else says. And they're just, because I feel like a lot of jewelers do that, especially the old school ones. They have their way, and nope.
You're an idiot if you don't do it the right way.
Absolutely.
We do plan on diving a little deeper into a certain guest with this, but also this question we could also pull back into. We're going to get to hollow rope chains, so I don't want to go into that right now, but the first question and the second question, we could discuss hollow rope chains, but I'm saving it. But we did discuss, Brad, yesterday, just briefly, like if we could both come up with like one just trick that we think people either might trigger people, like, oh, no, or maybe we'll, win some souls here. I don't know.
Well, I remember one. I know we talked about two. So
yeah, so you do most of the polishing here at the store.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah,
this is a divisive
subject.
And I just want you to talk about it, and then we'll get to why it's so decisive. Divisive. There we go.
Indecisive. So I'll just say it. I wear gloves when I polish.
If you could see his precious little hands right now, you'd
they're
see
so
why.
Clean. They're so clean. And it started with when I was doing primarily watch repairs here. I would still help with polishing on occasion, and I did not want to get my hands all nasty and then try to work on a watch. So obviously you have to be fairly selective, I think, for safety reasons on the gloves you use, because you don't because I was under the impression for the first, 10 years of doing this that you could not wear gloves when polishing. But so yeah, I just use some like thicker latex gloves, kind of like nitrile gloves that you see nurses and doctors wear. That way, if anything gets snagged, it'll just rip the glove and it doesn't rip my finger apart or anything else. But yeah, man, it helps a little bit with the heat that comes from polishing. But I mean, you can immediately just take your gloves off and help a customer, and they're not seeing the grossest hands in the world. So that's my hot take.
I'm going to be honest. While you were talking, one of our friends texted, and then I started looking on Instagram, so I was not wholeheartedly
I hate you
paying attention. But I will say briefly, I caught most of it, and I think we all have a reason for why we start wearing gloves to polish. Even though I felt like we were all told early on, like, don't ever do that.
Yes.
So for me, it was when I opened the shop, it was just me working by myself. And I just kind of like I do now, we have to go from working on a job, helping a customer, polishing, rhodium, back to, it's just you're bouncing around. And kind of a similar situation, I would polish because I didn't use gloves for the longest time. And I just feels like, well, if I wear gloves while I'm polishing, I can just take off the gloves and help people. And I don't have like disgustingly gross stained black fingers. And or because people would hand me stuff, or I had to like grab paper, or everything I touched would just get ruined with the black rouge on my fingers. So it kind of started that way for me. But then the more I started doing it, I started thinking, because I was always, kind of scared into not using gloves, like you'll lose a finger. And I just began to be very conscious of the way I polish. And I feel like the way I polish, I'm like, I don't see how, obviously a freak accident can happen to anybody, whether you're wearing gloves or not. So I'm like, but I don't see how something bad could happen. Maybe I'll regret those words. Maybe I'll eat those words one day.
The next
Maybe
podcast,
I just jinx
you'll be
myself.
down a digit or two. Gosh.
Like, update, Dusty has 9 fingers, and only 7 of them work the same.
So what's your hot take?
I think one that is going to be fun to discuss in depth longer is that we've kind of alluded to it, but we basically do almost every ring sizing with the laser.
Ooh, man, that's going to tick some people off, man.
And I know there's going to be some haters out there, and I will admit this. If people size rings the incorrect way on the laser, you are correct. That is a stupid thing to do.
Absolutely.
But there is a right way to do the laser. And the other argument is, well, I can do it way faster with the torch. I'm not necessarily arguing with that point, but here we're not trying to, save 4 minutes on a ring sizing. So, and we never have to worry about solder seams. And then there's going to be, well, if you soldered it correctly and had a nice joint, you wouldn't have a solder seam. Again, I'm not disagreeing with all that. There is a little, there's more room for error soldering.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, I think, because, rings were sized that way for decades. So,
oh, yeah, we're definitely not looking down on it. We don't think one way is superior or not. It technically is with a system that we've established that we enjoy doing because of our dynamic duo-ship that we have going on.
Boom. Tag team.
But if done correctly, I guess I would. Would you die on the hill that it's a superior weld?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. We're gonna lose the 20 people listening are like, I'm done.
Unless you are welding a ring with a torch.
That is,
if you're not using solder,
that is true.
Yes. So yes, if you're using solder, laser welding is a superior joint. But if you are using the actual gold, not solder, not hard solder, soft solder, whatever solder, then yes, that joint is just as strong, in my opinion.
I did dabble in welding before I had a torch, but I only ever did it when I was sizing down, and I did enjoy it. I love the idea of being able to, whether it be welded with the laser or with the torch, again, not solder, welded. I love the idea of just being able to just hammer the frick out of that thing and polish the heck out of it and not have to worry about ever a solder seam.
Yes. And we have, on occasion, welded with a laser, a wedding band, and then we were able to stretch it up.
That is so.
We have very good footage of that. Right, Dusty?
we're gonna redo that video because I'm gonna post it because I just wanted people to see. Actually, we wanted to test it to see if it was even possible because we were skeptical as well. And I said, "Hey, we got this wedding band, and it was sizing. I don't remember what it was. I think it had split maybe because somebody soldered it. And so I'm like, hey, why don't we? But it needed to go up I think it was like a size or two. I can't even remember. And I'm like, hey, why don't we just record the process? And we're going to laser weld it, and then I'm going to stretch it up. And I said, hey, Brad, when you start laser welding this, can you make sure to tell me so I can record it? And then, like an hour later, he hands it to me. He's like, yeah, it's done. I'm like, bro, we were going to record it so people don't think we're making crap up.
Sorry.
So we have all the footage except the actual laser welding. So we might still just do it.
Just trust us. Just trust us.
But we
did it.
You can we wanted to see how strong the laser weld was. So we took a men's wedding band, laser welded it, and I stretched it up at least a size. I can't remember. There's a video. So maybe if you guys want to see it, find a way to let me know, and I'll make the little reel and put it up on the Instagram page. But I guess that's the two. That's enough.
Two
That's
hot
enough,
takes.
right?
Yep. Next question.
Takes me a second to get there.
Get this rolling, because we gotta open up.
Oh yeah, so this is the good one. How do we deal with hollow rope chains? I want to start with
Please do.
an acceptable answer before we get too deep into it. An acceptable answer for hollow rope chains in your store or your bench or your place of business is we don't work on hollow rope chains.
That is completely acceptable.
I will never judge a store for them just outright saying we don't do that.
100%.
And sometimes I wish we did that. But we don't, Brad. So how do you handle it?
So we don't, but it is something that from the take-in process, we are very diligent about informing the customer of what it is. Let's start with that. Let's start with how is take-in different, and then we'll get into the process of how we fix them.
So on their ticket, we don't make them sign anything. Maybe we should. It's only been a problem once in the last 9 years. Another story for another day. I don't want to talk about it. It's the one time I had one of those chargebacks.
Ooh.
And I spent 30 minutes. I said we're not going to talk about it. I spent 30 minutes talking to this guy about how terrible his hollow rope chain was and how it's about to break, and it was multiple places. And there's no guarantee. I'll fix it, but it could break so many other places. And then a month later, of course, it broke again, and he came in, and I'm like, did you not remember this entire, you were here for 20 minutes discussing this? And then he went to his credit card company and got a refund, and they pulled it out of my account, and it was so freaking annoying. But the way we take it in now, because at that time it was just a conversation, but now we always put, at least I type on every edge repair envelope that has a rope or a hollow item, we do not guarantee hollow repairs.
Correct.
Period. And we even tell them, I would advise not doing it, but if you want us to, this is the price, and there's no guarantee. In fact, I say, I guarantee this will break again.
That's one of my favorite things that Dusty says, because they will say, maybe they'll ask, is there a guarantee? And Dusty's like, yeah, there's a 100% chance that this is going to break again.
So we give them all the outs. But, okay, Brad, so now we've tried to talk them out of it. We've warned them. They've acknowledged that there's no guarantee.
And we price it higher than it is not a normal solder.
We should probably go higher than that.
Yes.
But so what we used to do, like everybody, is with a torch. I would use easy solder and be very careful and do the best I could. Did some occasionally over the years, did some more melt than I cared for to melt and collapse. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, everybody does, right? That's not.
Yeah, the first time you ever work on one, you're effing somebody's chain up.
Or
time.
the 10th time.
Yeah. And so eventually maybe you get decent at it, which is great. Now, I did learn another tip that I was doing before the laser, and I know people are about to lose their minds already. But I would, I'm glad this is an audio podcast, so I can really show you guys what I did. But basically take a separating disc and cut a notch in both sides of the brake. And then you kind of shove them together. I don't really know how to describe it.
No, that makes sense.
But then you could let the solder kind of flow in there. It did kind of leave a stiff place. Sometimes not so much. Sometimes it did. I was in exchange with a jeweler last night, actually on Instagram, who saw the comment about hollow rope chains, and he started using the paste solder, which I've tried that. I think those are all fine. I think we all established that we're all just trying to figure out how to keep it together until the next time it breaks. But, Brad, we do have a new system that I think works pretty well. And since you're the one that primarily does it now, I'll let you explain it.
So, using the laser, obviously I've experimented with different beam sizes, powers, different combinations to get a weld. The problem with using a laser, obviously, is you're going to shoot the beam straight through a hollow chain, even at a very low setting. So there are a couple of different things you can do, and it depends on the type of chain it is. I have used white gold wire.
In those little hollow crap, the amount of white gold you're using, nobody's going to notice.
Correct.
And it flows at such a lower temperature. It's just,
Yes.
don't overthink it. It's a freaking hollow rope chain.
Yes, and that's the reason. So if you guys don't have a laser, you're not used to it. The power setting for white gold would be maybe a 5 or a 6. Yellow gold would be a 18 to 20.
That's also not going to translate for people who don't have a CSMA.
Or a CSMA. I'm sorry.
Also, a really good friend of mine who works for Stellar got upset that we mentioned CSMA and not the lasers that they sell. It was kind of funny. I'm like, well,
what are we going to talk about? We have a CSMA.
How much money you got? I'll consider mentioning it. Anyway, back to your story.
We'll be happy to promote the second best laser in the world. Actually, I've never tried any other laser, so maybe the CSMA is the worst.
You just have to trust us on this.
So yeah, it's basically a 3 to 4x setting, power setting. So use white gold. If it's almost like, it's not, I hate to say it like this, it's not, but it's like easy solder in terms of it flows easy. So you can fill the tubes up with some of that if it's a larger chain. So you can ball up the white gold wire, kind of stick it into the tube and laser the ball of that you've beat it up, and it'll kind of fill in, and then you can do it to the other side of the joint and then push those together and laser the white gold, and it'll create a seam.
I've done that before too.
So then the other way we do things is primarily for like gold rope chains, the thinner ones. I've started to make 2 jump rings that are similar width to the wire of the rope, and I will link those in and then weld those in place so it has the look of the rope, and you really have a hard time telling where it is without a microscope. And that does 2 things. 1, it's much stronger. 2, we can show the customer, hey, this is where we did it. There's 2 solid links in this chain, and it's the ones we put in, and they are still fine. So when your chain inevitably breaks, we can point them to, okay, this is where it broke, but this is where we fixed it, and we're not just guessing like, oh, this is where I fixed it.
Yeah, and pro tips, if you are a jewelry store that does a lot of repairs, figure out a way to get your laser or your microscope hooked up to a TV screen so that people can see. For one, it gives them so much confidence. 2, it easily sells them on every repair that needs, because when you look under a microscope, you can show them every prong, every worn out, every cracked diamond, every broken chain or place that's about to break. And it's easier for them to be like, because otherwise you're just looking at it, and then there's sometimes it's just, you just got to trust us. It's a quick, easy repair. But it's nice to, when they see it, they're like, oh yeah, I definitely need to spend the $150 to do this correctly.
Yeah, I had someone yesterday, we were sizing her ring, and Ari took it in, which she's still learning. She's still learning. So she was primarily concerned about getting the size right and sizing the finger and everything. So she did not check the prongs. The prongs were extremely worn. One was broken. So I called the customer and was like, look, it's going to be an additional $150. And, nobody loves that call on either side, because you're kind of like, okay. As a customer, you're like, really? Okay. Like, the sizing itself is 75, but this is 150 and just out of the blue, and you guys didn't see it the first time. But I explained to her how that happened, and I said, what I'll do is on the laser, I can record a short video of what it looks like before, and then I'll do one what it looks like after, so you can actually see that it was needed and what it looks like now.
Yeah. For time's sake, there's a couple questions that we got asked that I think would involve a little more discussion, and we don't have quite the time for it. But I do want to get to one more question and then a story at the end. That's a very funny story.
Oh, I know. I'm so excited. So Dusty sent me this story.
Hold on. Just let me get to this next question, because this will be quick and easy.
Are you tapping something?
I don't think so. I wonder if maybe my leg is hipping something. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm trying for you not to have to edit all your tappies out.
Oh, well. It's better than mouth sounds. Anyway, so the next question is, any advice for jewelers in their first couple of years in repairs?
Wow, that's a broad question.
For a broad question, here's my broad advice. It's just repetition and practice.
Yes.
We were extremely fortunate that we worked in a place where there was a ton of repairs. I mean, a ton. And you just get to see everything, and you get to watch people. Hopefully you are working with or under someone who knows more than you.
Yes.
So that you can learn from them. I know that's not always an option, but my really advice is you just gotta, you will mess up.
Yes.
But you have to be a type of person in this industry that make mistakes happen. You have to learn and adapt and change and adjust. And there's really no shortcut to experience and repetition.
Correct.
There's just not.
I will say, the more, and there's no substitute for doing it yourself, but the more you watch other people, and a resource we did not have when we were learning this is you can go on YouTube and watch really, really good jewelers doing really good work. And
there's a few of those we might have on the show eventually.
Ooh. And so, when I was learning the laser, I learned a lot from Dusty, but when I was at home, I was watching YouTube videos of people using the laser, because
like Scott Isaacs,
just like him. Absolutely. And so,
it's a combination.
Use the resources.
Yeah, it's a combination of all those things.
Yes.
And it's funny because before I ever touched a torch, I think I spent 2 years watching the other jewelers where I worked.
Right.
Like I was just watching, like how hot was the torch? What were they doing? And so by the time I actually held a torch, it was like I kind of know what to do. I just haven't actually done it. And then after that, it was just repetition.
Yeah.
All right. So do we want to get into? We got to open the shop here. So I'm just going to read the story, and then we're just going to pick a random Ben Stiller melody song to add to the end of this when I edit it. I don't know, because nothing leads into any of these songs.
I'm so excited because Dusty sent me this story.
So this was a story on JHJ,
and he was like, "Actually, delete that because I want to read it to you."
So Aaliyah had made a post about just share something, tell us a funny story. I don't remember when, maybe a week ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. By the time this gets released, I don't think I've interacted with this man on JHJ, but his name is Jimmy Butts. His name makes me laugh before I even get into the story, and I can tell.
What, Jimmy
Butts.
Oh,
and
Jimmy's not funny.
From my experience of watching him over the years from a distance, I can tell he's a really good jeweler. But this was his funny story. I'll see if I can get through this before we have to close this up. He said, quote, "I had a lady come in. It was around 1992.
Ooh.
And back then we sold gold by the weight.
Mm.
When I told her that, she asked,
No.
She goes, well, I'm 250 pounds. How much is that going to cost me? Every time I read this, I can't get through it. I politely said, well, it's not based on your weight, but the weight of the chain. And she said, oh, thank goodness. I could probably afford that.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
It does remind me, though, like, because I'll go home and complain about, like, something that happened at work, whether it be with a client or something, and my wife will constantly remind me, people just don't inherently understand your industry. So it's not that much of a stretch, but I'm like, this is different. Oh, yeah, we sell it by the weight. Oh, I'm 250 pounds. Well, that's not irrelevant. Okay. Also, could probably tell. It's time to get off here. We got to open the store. Guys, it was one of those episodes.
That was fun. I like that.
benchjewelermemes@gmail. So much easier for us to keep up with questions, comments, stories on the email. Haven't checked it in a week, so hopefully there's some stuff there waiting. We hope to have a guest soon, and we'll see you guys next time on Bench Jeweler Memes Podcast.
Wait for the song. It's playing now.
20 years of steady hands, little torch, platinum bands, every ring a testament to the craft that I've been in. Then they wheeled it through the door, chroming circuits, nothing more. Said it's time to modernize, but I see fear behind my eyes. Always die hard in this weathered heart, but the world keeps spinning faster. Now I'm dancing with the laser light, precision beams that burn so bright. What I fear would steal my soul, made me something 10 times whole. Every spark a symphony of old craft and new harmony. I was wrong to run and hide from this fire burning inside. First attempts were shaky, strange, learning curves and focal range. Melted gold and ruined stones, working late, I'm all alone. But slowly something starts to click, like a long forgotten trick. My hands remember how to flow, with tools I'm learning to know. Always die hard in this weathered heart, but the world keeps spinning faster. Now I'm dancing with the laser light, precision beams that burn so bright. What I fear would steal my soul, made me something 10 times whole. Every spark a symphony of old craft and new harmony. I was wrong to run and hide from this fire burning inside. I can fix what once was lost, hairline cracks at half the cost. Delicate work that torch can't do, making masterpieces new. Technology and tradition joined in perfect composition. I'm the same, but I'm reborn in this bright electric dawn. Now I'm dancing with the laser light, precision beams that burn so bright. What I feared would steal my soul, made me something 10 times whole. Every spark a symphony of old craft and new harmony. I was wrong to run and hide from this fire burning inside. 40 years of steady hands, now they hold tomorrow's plans. In the fusion of the old and new, I found something pure and true. Forty years of steady hands, now they hold tomorrow's plans. In the fusion of the old and new, I found something pure and true. True.